Hey, bud.
So good.
How's it going?
Good, man. Isn't good. Hey, I'm just gonna tell you I'm Mexican. So if I mispronounce something, I mean I was born in California, but sometimes I mispronounce or I forget a word. So excuse me if something like that happens.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
All right.
So,
Okay. You wanna start
yeah. I just wanted to know, how did you feel about the last discussion?
with the hunting education guy? No,
Yeah.
that guy knows what he's saying. That's what I have to say.
So you leaned more in favor of him, you're saying?
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah. I think he was pretty logically inconsistent, but
I think
I'm
he's
sure,
the one that has the real data.
but like, yeah, I'm sure our own biases will disagree with that anyway. So I want to know, how do you justify not being vegan?
I don't justify not being vegan. The If you want to be vegan, if anybody wants to be vegan, they're free to have the diet whatever they want. The thing is, I don't like when people start saying that okay, don't be vegan because being vegan is going to save the world because that's not true. I mean, veganism isn't like a salvation. You know, people that watch Cowspiracy and think, "Oh no way!" I mean, cow farts are 60% of the global gas emissions. I mean, that's not true.
I mean, there is science behind animal agriculture being far more unsustainable than any sort of plant-based farming. But yeah, I don't argue that either. I just stay focused on ethics, basically.
No,
So that's not
actually,
the main point of veganism has never been focused around the environment. I focus it around ethics.
okay, yeah. I mean, you also focus on about ethics, and a lot of people say that. But the thing is that have you ever worked in a ranch or on a farm?
No.
So, what can you tell me about and working with animals? Are you a vet?
What?
Are you a vet?
No.
Have you ever worked with animals? Not dogs and cats and animals in the city. No, big animals, horses, cows, pigs. So
Do I
people
have to?
don't.
Well, do I have to
Oh,
work with them? Do I have to work with them to know that they avoid suffering and that they want to live?
animals. Yeah, I mean everybody wants to live, but the thing is that the what's the word? Nature is that nature feeds on nature. Herbivores feed on plants. Carnivores feed on herbivores. Omnivores feed on, well, they combine both. So at the end of the day, there's a misconception that people say, "Oh well, all the land we use for agriculture, we can use it for growing our food, vegetables and fruits." And that's a misconception because people don't understand that not all land is sustainable for growing human food. That's why we grow food for cattle because they do have the enzymes in their biology and in their intestines. And the thing there, they say the cows have four stomachs. Well, yeah, cows do have a different system that permits them for eating those plants and everything and being able to process them. So we can we can't say, oh, we're not going to eat meat anymore because the lands we that a lot of vegans say, okay, we're going to use them for planting our crops, our food, vegetables are beans, all that isn't usable for vegan foods.
So you think it's better to grow a bunch of crops in order to feed these animals and then kill those animals so that we can eat them instead of just eat the crops directly and we would have to use less of it?
No, I don't say it's better. I say it's a necessary evil at the end of the day, because there isn't enough lands to feed the whole world population. Maybe a couple hundred years ago there wouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, there is. You realize we're feeding billions and billions of animals. These animals eat more than humans. We're providing food for them, and that's actually one of the contributors to world hunger is animal agriculture because we're feeding all these crops and we're producing them for animals specifically, like in third world countries. That's the reason why they're suffering of hunger is because all these crops are being fed to livestock in order to fatten them up so we can murder them, eat their dead bodies, but we could just be eating the crops directly.
No, I mean, it just
And we
that's
would
a
need less
problem. You can eat animal crops. I mean, a cow, if you grow corn and
yeah,
feed her corn, she
that's
eats
because
the entire plant, not just the corn. She doesn't just eat the corn. She eats the whole plant, and she produces protein from the whole plant. There's a lot of plants that you can eat because your biology, your digestive system isn't developed to eating their food. I mean, you don't eat the same stuff that cows eat, and you can digest it the same way they can.
okay, so what about soy? 70% of the soy grown in the U.S., according to the United States Department of Agriculture, is actually fed to livestock. 70% of all soy.
You know why that 70% is fed to livestock? Because it doesn't pass the Regnan test for feeding it for it going to people, for it producing, like
Yeah,
soy
that's
burgers
because
and
it's
stuff.
not produced that way. That's because it's produced intended to go to the animals, not for humans. But if
Even
we
if
were
it
smart,
wanted
we
to,
would produce it.
it's
If we were
not
smart,
it's not sustainable for a whole population. So
yeah, it is.
no,
So feeding
you
it
have to have
to so feeding them to cows is not
a
sustainable.
balanced diet, and a balanced diet does not say you're just gonna eat 70% of your diet is gonna be soy because okay, we eliminated all the cattle that was a huge part of our normal diets, so we're gonna replace it with soy. That's not a healthy diet.
Sure it is.
Uh,
Soy's not healthier than red meat.
Red meat isn't bad. Excess is bad. But I mean,
Okay,
if
well,
you have a healthy diet, you exercise, you have a well
okay,
balanced
so
diet.
you can get everything from soy that you can get from eating a cow. Okay, first of all, most importantly, no one has to get murdered and have their life taken for it, and it provides just as much nutrients without the unnecessary saturated fat and cholesterol that you get from eating animal products anyway. So why would you not choose soy?
The thing with cholesterol that people think, okay, um, eating meat gives you a lot of cholesterol. That's wrong. Your body produces cholesterol, and
Yeah, I
when
know.
you increase some certain amount of meats and all that, but that's because of an unhealthy diet, not because of meat. I mean, we've eaten meat for thousands of years, and it's not something that you say it's bad for you. It's biology. I
Well,
mean, our bodies are evolved for eating it, for processing it.
well, okay, cool. That wasn't even my main point. My main point was how do you justify eating or taking someone's life and then eating their flesh when you can eat something that's plant-based, doesn't require you to take someone's life, and it's a more ethical option. So how do you justify taking someone's life?
Look, no, I mean, the point is, well, do you know even how you sacrifice a cow?
It's not a
You hit it.
sacrifice. It's simply taking their life away.
You
I think murder would be the word you're looking for.
no,
But yeah,
the way you
there's
sacrifice an animal is in large industries. They have like a piston, and the piston goes in the back of the head and kills them instantly. Videos that you see that people don't
Yeah,
hit them on the
stunning.
right spot and the animal still is alive, that's bad workers.
Yeah, I know they have a stunner, but that doesn't always work. And even when you do stun them, they can still be conscious and they can still be alive and they can still feel it when you slit their throat open. Plus, why does it
No,
matter whether it's
you
why does
don't.
it matter
You
like
don't pro
why does it matter if the death is less painful if they're still getting their life taken away
because
unnecessarily?
it's what we need for human existence. We need animals
How do we
because
need it?
yeah, we do, because not all lands, not even all lands are are sustainable for growing soy. They're sustainable for graminae, I think is the word in English. Graminae are grasses, hays, alfalfa, wheat, all of that. We can't, we don't have the enzymes to, what's the word? To digest that. We don't have the enzymes. Cows in their body have certain enzymes they get from eating those plants from birth. They start producing those enzymes, and then they are able to process those foods quickly. Not because, sorry, I forgot what I was going to say.
I mean, you can think of it. We have time. We have all the time in the world.
No, I'm giving you the word, the speech.
Okay, so again, like it was never really focused on diet for me. It's more like how can you justify it when we don't have to? And I was looking for like a reason.
Because if you want human existence,
Why do you
because
specifically have to eat animals? So you're gonna die if you don't?
well, basically, I mean, you do need B12, and if you don't supplement with B12, you do get
Well,
there.
guess what? I don't supplement with B12. I haven't supplemented B12 for years, dude. And the fact is, whether you're, because both non-vegans and vegans take supplements. The fact is, if you need supplements, I mean, surely later on in life, when you get older, or something, you're gonna need to take supplements and things like that. If you need supplements, whether you're vegan or not, just take a supplement. I don't need supplements as a vegan, so I don't take them. So again, and even if you did need supplements, how does that justify not killing someone just to take supplements?
No, I mean, the point I want you to understand is that the world population is too large for it to only be on plant based.
Then how are we feeding billions and billions of animals? There's only 7 billion humans. How are we feeding billions of animals?
You don't understand, right? The
No, I absolutely do. Yeah.
the what's the 70% or 80% of all agriculture is destined for animals, right? Something like that, 70-80%, right?
Soy, yeah, soy specifically, but most
No, no,
produce
no,
still,
no, no,
yeah,
no. All types of
yeah,
agriculture.
yeah, but most produce still is grown for animals.
No, no, no. It's all type. It's all types of agriculture. It's hays. It's corn. It's soy. It's beans,
Yeah,
etc.
yeah, yeah.
But soy isn't particularly that whole 70% of the agriculture we feed to animals. In my farm, we don't feed. We have the majority of the cows are grass fed, and the calves we have in the farm, because when we take them away from their mother, we take them to the farm, and then we feed them with corn, with it's called silo. I don't know how you say it in English,
Yeah,
but
it's corn.
it's corn, but it's the whole plant, and we feed
So
them with corn.
I'm
The
gonna
soy
know.
is just a little. It's just for giving more nutrients. But it's not the sole base of what they eat.
So how do you justify kidnapping babies and separating them from their mothers for something that's not even yours?
It's not kidnapping.
Yeah, it
It's
is.
it's a
Do
biological
you know the
process that
definition of
every animal has
kidnapping?
to go through. Every animal
It's
grows,
taking someone,
and
yeah, it's taking someone against their will and holding them hostage. That's exactly what they're doing to animals. Is it not?
no,
It's exactly what they're doing.
no. Let me
So
explain.
it's kidnapping. Yeah, by definition, it is kidnapping.
Okay, let me explain.
You may
In
not like
nature,
her.
no. Let me explain. Let me explain. In nature, what happens
In
is that
nature,
an animal
in
grows.
nature, animals don't drink milk from other species. Humans are the only weird people doing it.
Okay, okay. We'll get back to that later. All right. But my cows are beef cows. We don't drink their milk. Okay. So what happens here is that you take the animal when it's older. Every animal goes through a process where it grows, their mother stops giving milk, and the animal has to fend for itself. And that point is where we take them away. We take them and then we feed them so they can grow, so they can develop. That's the word. The animals we breed are purpose for being studs, or say. I mean, I don't know what's the equivalent of a bull or stud, but you understand what's a stud, right? It's a horse that's a breeding horse, right?
Yeah,
Where the
yeah.
bull is practically a stud. So you want them to grow to develop, right? So you take them and you give them corn, you give them soys, everything, so they can develop correctly. You don't. It's not kidnapping if the mother doesn't want it anymore. If it's a natural process where the
So
mother is already
it
rejecting
is
the animal,
kidnapping.
so it's
By
already
definition,
rejecting the animal.
it doesn't
It's not
matter what
giving
you're
in milk.
kidnapping. You're
The
taking
animals
them.
are already over there humping other cows, and you can have that because much of those other cows are their aunts. So that
You're taking them against their will. And regardless of what goes on at your farm, the standard practice for all dairy farms is that they have to be taken away so that humans, full-grown adult humans, can drink the milk of a different species.
okay, we're getting to that. First, I want to repoint my cattle is beef cattle. In beef cattle, you let them
Okay,
the
we're
whole life.
talking about
There's a
standard practice.
difference. Okay, let me tell you the difference. There's a difference between beef cattle and milk cattle.
Yeah, I
Beef
know there's a
cattle,
difference. Yeah, I know there's a
no,
difference
milk cattle
between the industry.
produce immense amounts of milk, much more than what the calf needs. If a calf drinks their they eat a lot and they won't stop eating. So if you let them with the cow, he's gonna eat and eat and eat, well, drink. He's gonna drink and drink and drink until he gets the diarrhea, and then the diarrhea gives them this dehydration, and they die. That's why you take them away from milk cows, because they produce an immense amount of milk. I mean, I don't remember what's
Okay, so you're
the
saying, yeah,
how many.
that's
What?
because we bred them that way. We bred them to exploit them for their milk. So that's exactly, it's because we bred them that way. Otherwise, how would they have survived in the wild for so long without
Yeah, they
these
wouldn't.
type of,
That's the point. They wouldn't. And the
yeah,
way
exactly. You wouldn't have
that we keep them living, to keep the calves alive, we have to remove them from their mothers. Then we put them in another pens. Well, I don't do it, but people that are in that
okay, so
business
in
put
order
them
to
in
keep
different
them
pens
alive,
and raise them there.
in order to save the calves, we have to take them away from their mothers and steal their milk and then
Yeah,
repeatedly rape that female cow so we can exploit their bodies for dairy that we don't
repeatedly
even produce.
what? Repeatedly what?
Repeatedly rape them for their milk just so that they can produce milk.
So so extracting the milk from the cow is rape.
No, artificial insemination is rape. They have to be pregnant in order to produce milk in the first place.
So I so it's not the same. Did you know that
It's
artificial
against their
insemination
will.
doesn't work 100% of the time?
Yeah, it's
I
against their
mean, a
will.
bull is a lot more more precise. But if you want a good quality, well, you're gonna inseminate them with semen that comes from a greater quality. So it gives you good quality calves. Understand that? I mean, you got to see that for farmers, that's a business. It's a business.
So you're telling
So
me you have to rape animals in order to survive?
not
Is that
rape.
so? There's no
There's no
justification.
rape in the animal kingdom, man.
Yeah, you do. There's no justification for what you're doing.
I mean, that's humanitizing something that isn't human. They're animals. It's the same for them to, I mean, if you leave cows with a bull, they're gonna have the same, what's the word? They're gonna be pregnant once again and again and again. Every time is their cycle, because that's how nature works. And with artificial insemination,
They're not kept against their will and exploited for their bodies and kept in cages. And
oh,
then
so
once they were used up, sent to a slaughterhouse to be murdered. No, that's not how it goes in nature at all. So I want to know how you
nature
justify
wolves
that.
eat
I
them when
want to know how
they're
you
old
justify
and
that.
draggy
Yeah,
and
I want to know how you
uh,
justify that when you don't have to.
no, when in nature wolves eat them, they
Okay,
destroy them before.
I don't
Or
care what goes on in nature. I'm talking about how do you justify it? Wild animals don't have moral. They don't have moral behavior. Like anything they do, anything goes. They don't live by a justice system. You do. They don't live in an apartment, a house, on your roof. They don't wear clothes. They're not civilized, and they don't have the ability to be civilized like you do. So you have
then
a
why
choice.
would you
Yeah, you have a choice.
categorize something in
Yeah, you
animals
have a
as
choice
rape?
yeah, you have a choice to be either
If you
kind
just
or
you just
violent.
said that they don't have a legal system. Why would you categorize something as rape? A man
What?
putting a prop inside a cow.
Dude, I'm saying they're not civil, so why are you saying you can kill animals just because a wild animal does it? Okay.
No, I mean
No.
you're
Are
saying
you
that.
really basing everything you do off of what wild animals do? So you should walk around naked, go sniff other people's butts, kill other people basically whenever you want to and get away with it because that's what wild animals do. So if you're not going to live by basically everything that they do, then you can't live by one thing that they do. You can't just pick one thing that you want to mimic, but nothing else. It's hypocrisy. So that's a terrible argument. But I'm looking for how you can justify harm when you simply don't have to. Like if you stopped eating animals right now, you're not just going to drop dead. So why are you causing them distress and harm? That's all the justification I'm looking for right now.
Okay, I mean I understand that anything I tell you is you're not gonna like it because you're so sentimentally attached to your ideals.
I'm just
But
looking for
I'm
justification.
attached to what the real world. And in
I'm
the
looking
real
for
world,
justification.
and in the real world, we have to eat. I mean, you don't
In the
personally have to eat animals,
so we
but
have to.
yeah,
So
you
I'm
don't
blaming that.
personally
So
have to eat animals. But for human civilization to keep have something to eat, we can't eat only animals. I mean, we can't eat only plants because the
yeah, we
animals.
can. Yeah, we can. It's more
No, we
sustainable.
can't.
Yeah, it's way more
Where are you
sustainable.
going to grow your vegetables and your fruits?
It's way more sustainable. We have crops that can feed the
All the
tons
lands that
of
are
humans.
sustainable for
No, if
that
we cut
already
out,
used for
if we
that.
cut out, listen, if we cut out giving all of our produce to farmed animals, we could feed tons of more humans just from cutting out, not producing all this food for animals and then killing them and eating their dead bodies as well. It's completely unsustainable, and I think you know.
No, I
So
mean
again, how is this a justification to murder other people?
other people. No, no. Look,
So
the
why
thing
can't
is,
why can't animals be considered people?
okay, consider them whatever you want, but the point is that it's not the population can't feed. I mean, you can't grow vegetables wherever you want. You can't just throw the seed and hope for onions and tomatoes to grow wherever you want. I think you understand that.
Okay.
So there's plants that you can eat that grows in those places that your food does not eat. Do you understand that?
Okay.
So, I mean, I like to
We
see
can
you eat a
literally,
bale
we
of
can
hay.
literally
You can't.
we can literally use the crops that we're using to grow tons and tons of food for
What
farmed
are you
animals.
gonna grow? I mean,
And no, we can make it. We can make it to where that food is intended for human consumption. It's really that simple.
what are you gonna grow in those
Food,
lands?
food,
What kind of food? Do you know what grows in those lands?
plant-based food.
Alfalfa, avena,
You can
those kind of.
literally, yeah, dude.
You can make wheat, but I mean, I mean, not all ground. See, in my ranch, we used to grow corn. These cows eat 25 kilograms of plants a day. Maybe I don't know what's the actual number, but the thing is, I'm reading one of the comments. The
Yeah,
thing
yeah,
is that you don't need, is what I'm saying right now. We are, our system, our digestive system is not evolved for eating what a cow eats. I mean, you can't eat what a cow eats.
well, yeah,
Not the
cows
whole
eat
plants. No,
grass.
not
We
the
don't
whole
eat
plants.
grass. Yeah, cows
They,
eat grass. We don't eat grass. We can eat things like
we
soy,
can eat
corn, and
grass.
beans. Yeah, we can
I,
eat things like soy, corn, and beans, and produce.
soy
Stuff that's
is,
fed to
I
farm
mean, if
animals.
you want to be sustainable, soy is not sustainable. Soy is very bad for the environment.
Yeah, and
Agriculture,
guess where
agriculture is also
70% and guess where 78% of the soy goes? According to the United States Department of Agriculture, it goes to feed livestock. Then we murder them and eat their dead bodies.
because that soy doesn't pass the rigorous the what the
Yeah, that's because it's intended for livestock anyway. So why would we continue to 4% of soy? Let's look at. Sorry, I was reading a comment. Animals die in the growth of crops as well. Yep. And most of those crops are also fed to feed livestock animals. So,
yeah, and
yeah, because animals
because
die in
that
crops too.
those crops don't grow with. I mean, maybe some you can alter to make them um, human worthy, but not all of them. Not all of them are going to be worthy. There's some that are grown with dirty water, with water that comes from the cities, you know, full of crap and shit and all, and detergents and all of that. And that's what you give the animals. You're not going to feed that to humans.
Okay, cool. So I'm still looking for the justification that justifies taking their lives for no reason.
Dude, I'm not trying to justify anything. I'm trying to
You can
explain
make
to
it
you
easier.
how the
You
world
can make
actually works.
You could simply make it easier on yourself and say there's no justification for killing animals if you have to. I mean, that's a logical thing to do, but
No,
we can.
there is a justification because not the world population will die of hunger.
Okay,
Because
so what if I want to murder other people instead of animals? Can I do that? And if not, then you hold yourself at a double standard.
no, that's not what
Yeah,
I'm. No,
yeah,
that's
you
not
do.
what I'm
So
saying.
why is it
What I said,
unjustified with the people, but
I
not
said
animals?
that people would die of hunger. The reason they die of hunger is because the lands are not sustainable for
Dude,
farming human foods.
They die of hunger because all these crops that could be going to them is fed to livestock. So
No,
you can eat their dead body parts. Yeah.
do you
Have
know
you
the
been
amount
doing
of
research
people
about
that
that?
live on eating animals because there's no place for crops in where they live. I mean, there's people in the Sierra here in Mexico
Dude, yes, there is. Okay,
there
so
that don't
okay, so
have lands
okay, so
capable.
the cows on the farms are just starving. They're getting fattened up by eating nothing. Is that what you're
No, no,
saying?
no. I'm talking about people.
Dude,
I'm
we're
talking.
producing all these crops to feed these animals when we could be eating the crops directly, and we would have more food
No,
for us.
wait. I'm talking about people. People
Instead,
that
we're breeding
lost
these
their
animals.
animals because their lands. Listen to me, please. I'm talking about people. People in the Sierra, they grass their animals because their lands are not good for planting not even corn, and corn almost grows anywhere, and they can't even plant that in their lands. So they have to eat. They have to have a meat based diet. Well, not completely because they do go to other towns and get their fruits and get their vegetables, but they do have cattle in their ranches because their main source of food and their economy also. It's also their economy. So, I mean, not
Okay,
if
so how does that
we
justify?
stop eating animals because we don't want to kill the animals. If we
Does,
stop,
so how does that justify murder again? I'm confused here.
I told you, I'm not trying to justify murder. Since you invited me to
Oh,
this,
so
you
you
pointed
admit
out that fact,
that-
and I told you I'm not gonna justify not being vegan, not murdering. I
Yeah, because you know you can't. So that's why I'm saying you should just throw in the towel and say that there's no justification for it. But instead, we're talking about crops and
there
all
is a
that. Dude,
justification
I went over it multiple
because,
times. I went over it.
and I've
That it,
told you many times, the lands that are used for animal crops can't grow human foods. If you want
yes,
to
it is. Are
be,
you crazy?
are
You
you
can
crazy? Have you
alter
ever
it.
worked on a fucking farm?
You
Seriously?
can alter it. Are you crazy? You can literally alter it to grow food for us. The reason why we
You know
grow
the
that type
amount
of
of
food is because
money
it's
you
intended for
need to
animals.
use to alter grounds. You know the amount of money? It's millions of dollars. I
Dude,
mean,
no. You can literally alter it to produce human food. It's that simple.
no, you can't do it, but
It's
it's
produced
really
specifically
costly.
for
Who's
the
gonna
animals.
pay that?
No,
You,
it's produced
the
specifically
government?
for the
Not
animals.
in a million years.
Dude, the crops are produced specifically for the animals because they need that much food. Why would they grow it in a way that humans can consume it if it's for animals in the first place?
Look, let me explain something to you. If it was sustainable to grow human crops and economically viable, believe me that it's more economically viable for farmers to plant vegetables and fruits and everything that's going to go to vegan diets is more economic. It gives them more economically more more money at the end of the day than fattening up an animal and killing it. So if it worked, we would be doing it. We
No,
don't do it
that's
because it
completely
doesn't work.
false. That's completely false, dude.
It is.
The
It's not
Dude, that's
false. I
completely
see it. I
false.
mean, I live it,
The
man.
vegan dairy industry is full of cash, full of exploitation and just things like that. And support from the government, like, dude, our taxpayers' dollars are literally going towards farmers who, and even dairy farmers right now because they're suffering so bad.
No, but you're saying that
Because
we.
people are actually waking up and saying that they're not baby cows, they don't need to be drinking breast milk. So what are you talking about? The government literally supports these dairy
No,
farms.
I think maybe I came out wrong, or I when I see that we're both talking at the same time, this like gets glitchy. I don't know if it was that, but the point there was that when you say you can change the grounds or making it able to sustain human foods, human crops. Do you know the amount of money that takes? I mean, the government won't fund that. I mean, lots of grounds are gonna need like greenhouses or what's the
Okay,
name?
so let's say it does take a lot of money.
And that takes a lot of money.
Okay, so
And farmers don't. Many of farmers
because the
won't have
government,
that money.
okay, cool. So because the government won't support farmers, that means that we have to put that on the animals and cause them to suffer because we don't want to do right by each other. That doesn't make sense, dude. That's not a justification for killing animals because they have nothing to do with that situation. I think you need better reasoning, and I think you need to find another argument other than crops at this point. So if you have another argument, I'd love to hear it. Because we've been talking about crops, the same thing for a while now. So I just want to
Okay,
move on to another.
let's talk
To
about
another.
people that live in rural communities and in forests. People like
Okay,
native
let's talk
people
about it.
in
Yeah.
Alaska. They need
So
to hunt to survive.
okay, let's talk about it. So there are people in situations where they have to, I guess, harm animals, kill animals, and there's people in some situations who have to kill others, harm other people to sustain themselves. And the fact is, I mean, I guess you can do that. I guess it's justified to harm others just because you need to. But the fact is, you should be as against harm as possible. So it's as cruelty free as reasonably. reasonably possible at all times. And if you're not doing that, then you obviously never cared about, the situation anyway. Because right now, what's keeping you from it? Like, are you in these situations? This isn't representative of most of the, most of society, or at least the people who are on the internet or watching this debate. This isn't representative of them living in poor countries where they can't access fruits and vegetables. So you're talking about rare cases, and you're trying to use it for you to justify animals. So it's like you're exploiting these poor
No,
people. Yeah,
I'm
you're
trying.
using them as an excuse for why you are supporting animal abuse. People who don't even have access to the internet, who are that poor, they don't even have access to the internet. You're using them as a justification for why you still consume animal products.
No, I'm going to explain that, but it's not a justification. It's an example. Because if there's a lot of communities that live like that need their animals to survive. So what are they gonna do?
We're talking about you, right? And we're talking about people who might be watching this. Okay, I just said we should try and be as cruelty free as possible.
Oh, so you want my opinion that why I kill animals in your terms? Because I don't kill many animals. I mean, the other day, well, like months ago, a calf broke a leg, and you have to put it down. There's nothing you can do. The top of a mountain, three hours away from any town. There's nothing you can do. You put it down.
You could help them recover, but the fact is that you breed
them. There was a bet with us.
It's because you breed them to exploit them and use them for money in the first place. So you don't want to lose more money when they get an injury in order to fix them and repair them. But if it was a human or one of your family members, you wouldn't mind taking them to a hospital and getting their arm fixed if it's broken or something. Because you don't even see them as sentient beings. You just see them as.
That's the reason that you humanize animals.
Like literally, when you see an animal, I think all you see is cats.
Let me explain something to you. There was a vet that day with us, and the first one that got to the broken calf was him. He just turned around and said, "You have a gun." That's what he said. A vet didn't know. I mean, knew mostly. He knew that animal has no chance to, or would take 3 hours to get a wounded, dying animal.
They totally have a chance, but the problem is you see animals as profit. You don't see them as sentient beings who simply want to live their life, and that's your issue. Your issue is that you simply don't value their lives. You value your money and some pieces of paper more than their lives, and that's your issue.
No, we do value lives.
You absolutely do. You've shown it the entire time. You've tried to.
Let me explain it. Let me explain.
What the government?
When you see a horse,
you try to use the government not supporting farmers.
Break the leg.
Justification to kill animals.
Look, it's very different. A broken arm or broken leg in a human than in an animal. That's the problem with humanitizing animals. Mostly in big animals, heavy animals like cows and horses. Because their natural instinct is to walk on four. So if they break a leg, it's gonna be more difficult. I mean, I don't know. There's a movie called Soñadora, something like that. It's about a horse that breaks her leg. To keep the horse alive and off her leg, they have to keep the horse like off the ground in chains and in some type of mechanism so she doesn't step and break her leg again. You know how hard it is without the infrastructure to do the stuff? Or the bill that you're going to get?
Maybe that's why you shouldn't exploit animals and maybe leave them alone. Maybe not support horse racing where animals get their legs broken and then they have to be put down because they get injuries because of that. And judging by your page, you ride horses. What's your justification for enslaving animals and making them do what you want?
You know, horses have evolved alongside man for hundreds of years. We have hundreds of years riding them, breeding them, and living amongst them.
Okay,
wait. There's just been
years. That doesn't justify slavery.
No, wait.
How do you justify enslaving them and making?
No, wait. I'm going to something. You interrupting
The
me
reason
every
you
time I'm
are
trying to get to a
I'm just
point
looking, I'm
isn't
just
helpful.
looking for justification. I'm just looking
No,
for a justification for how
no,
for
but
why.
you're interrupting me every time I try to get to a point, to a certain point.
I'm trying to get you to justify.
I'm trying to get us to a certain point, and you interrupt me in the middle of my.
Right. So justify why it's okay for you to enslave them and
I
force them to do what you want.
I'm speaking, please.
All
Okay.
right.
So horses and man have been together for hundreds of years. We passed that, right? That. Horses have adapted to certain things. I mean, us being on their backs is a stress, but it isn't incapable. They're not incapable of holding us. There's many horses that like what they do. I mean, my horse when she goes into like a rodeo arena, she's all happy. She's pumped up. She wants to do it. Horses that don't like to work, don't like what they're doing, you
Yeah,
usually
I
leave
agree.
them
I
over there
agree.
and they're breeding mares or they're anything else, or you sell them to to anybody who wants them.
Okay,
But
and I agree. So if you have a horse and you have a good relationship with them, actually as a pet, like a rescue horse, and you ride them sometimes and they enjoy it, then I'd say, okay, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're doing it against their will and you're forcing them and you're putting all these straps on their faces and taking them to these events that they find stressful, it's slavery. That's not a bond. It's just slavery and exploitation. And then when they get in a
actually,
race,
I
break your legs
agree
and they
in
die,
something that you're saying
you
right
break
there.
your legs and they die, you murder them. That's exploitation. That's not a bond.
No, I actually agree
Yeah,
in some points that you're saying right
yeah.
there. But let me. There's people that don't know horsemanship. I mean, especially here in Mexico, I've seen a lot of people that don't know how you're supposed to ride a horse correctly without the horse being stressed, without the horse, um, the the name in English,
Regardless, they're
the,
screwed.
the thing that goes in their mouth. That thing is not supposed to produce pain on the horse. It's supposed to give out signals, but if you use it wrong, it does produce pain. So
Okay.
those people that
So
don't know
physical
how.
pain. But what about mental pain of being stressed out and having to pull around someone time and time again when they don't want to? It's enslavement.
If they don't want to, there's two possibilities. They're gonna be all stressed out, and the writer's
They don't
gonna say,
want
"I
to.
don't like this fucking horse, and I'm gonna sell it," or the horse is gonna buck and drop the cowboy. Per se.
Yeah, and guess what happens when you do that? You beat them so you can get them to obey you. It's
I don't
exploitation.
beat them.
Well, yeah, you don't have to, but that's what happens when they do disobey.
No, I don't, and that's where I'm
Yeah,
trying
I'm
to
not
explain
saying
to
you
you.
did. I'm
There's
saying that's
people
what
that
happened.
don't have good horsemanship. They
I
don't
didn't
know.
say you did. I'm saying that's what happens. It's absolutely what
That
happens.
happens in some cases, not in all cases. Some is different to all. Okay.
Yeah, it happens
There's some
sometimes.
people that are terrible horsemanship, and there's some people that love their horses more than anything, and they won't
Yeah, we
hit
call it
them
bond.
regardless
People
of
who
anything.
rescue their horses and form bonds with them, but buying
You
them
don't
for
have to rescue
exploitation
particularly your horse
to
to
sell them
form a bond.
to sell them at, like they're just some product for profit, that's not a bond at all. It's just exploitation. So yeah,
Horses
you can't
are
justify
just, well, I mean, there are farms that breed and sell horses, but it's
yeah,
most of the
and that's
time it's a really little profit. It's just like a side profit.
yeah, that's a slave trade. It is a slave trade.
So, okay, look, the thing why we use horses in ranches and we need horses is because they get in places that we can get quickly and efficiently. Because the cow is gonna in mountainous terrain, cows are gonna leave you behind way before you can get close to them, you can round them up and you can move. That's why there's horses or for rodeo, and usually rodeo horses love what they do. I mean, their
Do
their
you have a
parts
source
of
for that?
their
So they
parts
love
of
being
their
enslaved.
genes.
So they
Their
love being enslaved, surrounded by loud crowds with flashing lights. They absolutely love that. I don't think so.
Some of them do. They actually do. They love what they
They're
do.
forced to do it.
They don't even.
They're absolutely forced to do it. There's no proof that they enjoy it.
Well, I mean, there's,
Yeah, there's
but
absolutely
it
no
might
proof.
be not like
Yeah, I don't think you
studies
can
that say
justify.
it,
Yeah,
but
I
you
don't
can
think.
see it in when you're on a horse and you're in a rodeo and you
Yeah, I don't
see
think
it
you
in
can
their eyes.
justify.
You can see the difference in a horse's eyes between being happy and being fucking scared. There's a difference. You can
Yeah, you
see
can
it in
tell
their
it's
eyes. You
good.
can see it in
Well,
their
respect
face,
them.
and you can see it when they're excited. When they're pumped up, they move different. They do certain sounds.
And I
Am I
challenge you to
correct?
watch any videos. Challenge you to watch any videos on horse racing or any rodeos. They don't look happy. They're not happy. They're enslaved and they're stressed out. So what are you talking about? I don't think you can justify slavery, and
No,
you're not doing a good
I
job
think
of
you
doing
you're putting it as an example. Some cases, not all cases. I mean, again, there's horses that love it. There are horses that the
I said if
ranchers
it's a
bring
bond.
stuff
I said it's
like
investable.
cattle reining and cutting horses. They have like a tendency to a facility in their genes that gives them certain properties that they like working with cattle. Horses like when
Okay,
mm,
so
when
why is it necessary?
we brought
Why is it
like
necessary to
a
provide
new mare to a ranch, and when she saw like the cattle running, she got hyped up, and she never worked with cattle.
Okay, cool. So
She
why
was
is it
excited.
necessary to ride horses when we have vehicles? So why do we need
Vehicles
to
don't go
exploit others?
anywhere, everywhere that horses can.
So why do we need to exploit others when we have vehicles?
There's not vehicles that there isn't a vehicle that can
There's
get
not a
all the
vehicle
places
that can
that a
run
horse can
faster
get.
than a horse. There's no vehicle that can go faster than a horse.
I'm
Okay.
not talking about faster. I'm talking about going through huge slopes between narrow roads, between trees, between all of you know
Why the
rugged
hell do you have to
terrain
do that? You can
that
drive on
most
the road.
vehicles won't go
So you
through.
can drive on a road, dude. These are horrible justifications you're using to justify slavery.
Have you ever worked in a ranch? Have you ever seen a mountainous ranch?
Dude, I don't. Nobody needs to work on a ranch to know that horses don't want to be enslaved. Like that's common sense. Are you crazy?
Horses aren't slaves. Most
Yes,
horses,
yes, they are.
lot of horses
Rescue
love
horses aren't
their
enslaved.
love their
People who form bonds with their horses, but people who buy them to exploit them and sell them and just ride them, and then when they get injured or something, they just murder them. Yeah, that's slavery. It's a slave trade. It's literally the slave trade, and you're arguing in favor of the slave trade right now.
No, it's not a slave trade.
Yes,
I mean, there's people with
it absolutely is.
bad ethics, and I agree that those people shouldn't have animals. Those
So
people
you
are
agree that you
shit.
shouldn't have animals because you kidnap them from their parents and you ride them, you exploit them.
No, I actually
So
treat them pretty well, and if they live out
yeah, and
in
you still exploit them. Like, didn't you just admit that you killed a baby? Like, not even long ago, just because they broke their leg, and because they didn't provide you with any profit, you murdered them,
look,
and then
the
sold
profit
them,
there
and then sold their
isn't
body.
right there. The profit isn't a problem. Isn't an issue because right there is like, well, I
So you have
mean,
the profit. So you admit that you have the profit to save the calf, and then you murdered it anyway, so you can make profit off of their dead body.
no,
So yeah, that's
no, I did not say that. Look, the thing is
yeah,
that
you
right there,
absolutely
an animal is suffering, and you're miles away, hours
you just
away of any city, unless a vet that has the equipment.
so
So
you
you're
think
going to leave an animal suffering 3 hours, and first of all, there right there where we were, there's no way to get vehicles in. You
okay,
can
cool.
get vehicles in.
So
We had
I think
horses,
this is true.
and
It's
the calf in question was too heavy for the horses to carry it. So there's no way to move it.
So
So
it's
we're just
justified
supposed
to kill.
to let
So
it
it's
suffer
justified
there.
to kill in order to end suffering.
Excuse me, it kind of
It's,
glitched.
it's justified. It's justified to kill in order to end suffering. You're saying?
Well, I guess it would be in some cases.
Okay. So if a kid
If
skins their knee and they're crying in pain, we should go ahead and just murder that kid because they skinned their knee and they're crying in pain, right?
no,
And
a
that's
skim knee
fine.
is not
Okay, cool.
a
So
death
you hold
sentence.
yourself at a double standard. You hold yourself at a double standard once again.
No, a scraped knee is not a death sentence for a little kid. But a broken leg in a mountainous terrain, a completely broken leg. I mean, the leg was 90 degrees this side. I mean, you can put
Okay,
any
so
weight
for
on
kid
it.
breaks their leg,
You
then it's
can't move
justified.
it. You,
So for
in
kid
that
breaks their
case, if we
leg,
leave it right there, he's gonna
cool. So
suffer
for kid
until she
breaks their
dies,
leg, then
or
it's justified
some
to murder.
coyotes come in and rip her to shreds. So what do you
Okay, cool.
think
So
was better?
okay, cool.
Killing it
So kid breaks
instantly?
their leg, and it's justified to murder them because the kid breaks their leg. You're holding these standards for animals, but you don't keep the same view when it comes to humans. So you hold yourself at a double standard.
No. You said a little kid scraped his leg. A little kid that scrapes his leg is gonna jump
If
right
he
up
breaks,
and go running to his mom. Oh, mommy, I scraped my leg.
so what if he
But then
breaks
he
his
breaks
leg
his
and
leg.
he's in excruciating
Okay,
pain?
usually kids, you're not gonna, they're not gonna be out on very far from their home, very far from the community, right? If you take him to a countryside, well, yeah, I mean, you're gonna take him to the doctor, but still, that kid's gonna be suffering. Now, you
Dude, guess
can't
what?
take that calf to a doctor.
Dude, guess what?
There's,
If you weren't
there's no way to
exploiting,
take it.
okay, cool. So if you weren't exploiting their calves and breeding them into existence in order to sell them for profit anyway, that calf would have never broken their leg and have to be murdered anyway. And either way, they didn't have to be murdered. So again, you're just using them for profit. This is not a good justification for eating their dead body parts, using them for no reason. Terrible justifications.
No,
So if
I
you can
think
contribute
the
less harm, why
justification is
wouldn't
feeding the population.
you? If you have the chance to cause less harm to other sentient beings, why wouldn't you take that chance?
So what's the less harm? Explain it to
Hmm?
me. What's that less harm that you're trying to say?
Well, reducing the amount of products you buy that contain animal abuse, leather, animal tested products, food. What's keeping you from doing that? Is it it even expands to things like animal testing. Do we have to do that for health? Do we have to use animal tested products for health and kill them?
Well, no, I'm not agreeing to animal testing,
So
but
you
I
don't
mean,
wear leather in
I,
any of that? I think you wear leather, dude. And animals have to be murdered for that.
and
So is that for survival, or is that just because you think it looks?
the leather comes is a product from the animal you already killed. You're killing it from for the
Okay,
meat,
so
not for its leather. The leather is a byproduct of that, and you use it. But I mean, you wouldn't kill an animal just for the leather.
except most of the leather actually isn't even produced in America, but the meat that we eat is produced in America. The leather, most of the leather we use is not produced in America, so it's not a byproduct. It's animal skin is actually a waste product. Now,
Yeah,
sometimes it can be exported to those countries so that they can produce it for us. That's a possibility, but it's not often. Like even look on your labels of your shoes. It's not. They're not produced in. These leather products aren't produced in America. So again, how do you justify buying shoes that involve animal suffering when you don't have to? No
okay.
justification other than the
I
fact that
didn't
you
understand your point right there
so you're
because
just
I
like
mean, it's a byproduct from killing an animal you were already gonna kill for meat, and you use the leather. You don't just you use that leather. You make products out of it, like you sell the meat for people to feed themselves. It's a product. It's a byproduct of what you already did.
yeah, it is.
Now, leather
But
stuff
I'm saying the ones that
lasts more, a lot more
I'm sure the
time.
ones that you have. Okay, cool. So I know it's a byproduct of it, but I know that the leather that you have is an American made. So it's not even a
Oh no,
byproduct.
because I live in
Why
Mexico.
would that make it any better to support other forms of animal abuse?
Well, no, my leather probably isn't leather American made because I live in Mexico. So
Okay.
probably it's Mexican made, or maybe it's
Yeah.
Taiwan made. But either way, it's an animal that was consumed for its meat. But they do have the industries. They do have the industry to grab those leathers from the animal and produce it into clothing. Maybe in some places we don't do that because making
Okay, so
uh,
it's okay to wear their body parts just because it looks good to you and kill them for it. Not a good justification.
maybe not because it looks good, but it lasts a lot longer
Will last a lot longer than what?
than many clothes. I mean, this T-shirt, if I go out into the ranch, it's gonna rip a lot quicker than a leather jacket. It lasts a lot longer. Leather jacket can last decades, and this will last a couple of years. And I expect you know how much the textile industry contaminates. Now,
Dude,
if you buy just a jacket that lasts 50
cotton-based
years
clothes can
instead of
last just as
jackets that
long.
last a
There's no
month,
proof. Dude, there's no proof that something just because it's leather it lasts automatically lasts longer than cotton-based clothes, any other material. That doesn't make sense. It's,
no, it
again,
does last
no
longer.
justification.
I
No, it
mean,
doesn't.
that's why we use
No, it
chaps.
doesn't. Dude, synthetic leather literally lasts longer. So you're lying. It's literally super unnecessary to kill for clothing. Like, are you crazy?
And synthetic leather, okay, it's a
It's
byproduct.
identical
We're
to it.
already killing the animals.
It's
So
identical
why
to
create
food,
synthetic
like
leather if we already need to produce animal meat?
no, you don't need to. You do it for profit, and you do it because it tastes good. So you do it for your taste pleasure, and you do it for profit. How do you justify that? You can't justify murder by saying taste pleasure and profit.
Look, the you don't you still keep not understanding that the point is that we can't all be vegan. We can't all
No,
have a vegan.
dude, I understand exactly. I think you just simply don't value the life of animals. I think it's as simple as that. You simply just don't value their lives, and I don't think any sort of conversation can really change that.
And I
But you
agree that
can't
any
do
sort of conversation won't change you humanizing every animal. Because you're humanizing stuff that shouldn't be humanized. They're animals if they have animal conducts at the end of the day.
it.
And
So you're telling me you have to be a human in order to not be out of the option for murdering someone?
no,
You're
the
telling me
point,
only humans are deserving of not being murdered. Only
no,
humans are deserving of
mm,
not being murdered.
no, there's there's a difference. We
Hey man, apparently the live's gonna end soon, so we got like 20 seconds. Apparently, Instagram does this, and it'll just kick you off. So it was a pretty cool conversation, I guess. I hope something resonated with you, but for now, I'm just gonna say peace out, and maybe we can do it again some other time. So
yeah,
peace, man.
peace out, man.
Enjoy your day.